Okay, guys, I don't know who started the rumor that Jaden Smith has been diagnosed with cancer, because it's all over the internet and is just total BS. But other than trending for this potentially fake diagnosis, Jaden is also all over our timelines for allegedly being one of the people who was sent to Diddy by his own dad, Will Smith, to get turned.
Okay. I really hope none of that baby oil was used on those kids. That would just be in bad taste. Baby oil on babies.
Well, now people are saying that they totally understand why Jaden is the way he is, because there's no way he could go through such a thing and still be normal. Honey, 2026 looks like the year Will Smith is going to get dragged to filth and exposed. But let's just get into it. So all this talk about Jaden being forced into FOs resurfaced after Jaguar Wright talked about 50 Cent's documentary on Diddy, and she said that the documentary was very sanitary and deliberately left out major industry figures who were present for Diddy's rise, such as Jay-Z and Clive Davis. She also noted the absence of Stevie J in the documentary, despite his close ties to Diddy, among several others. According to Jaguar, Diddy is still running the show despite his incarceration, and she said that the documentary was ultimately a strategic move to blame everything on one person while keeping the rest of the industry clean. Then she talked about Bryshere Gray specifically, saying that Bryshere's mom sold him to the industry to people like Will Smith, and there's even allegedly a tape that exists of Bryshere being compromised with Justin Bieber and Jaden present.
Trying to sue him out so he'll feel too embarrassed to file his lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him. With Jaden and Justin present, that tape exists.
Remember, Jaguar has also been very vocal about how young men have left Will and Jada's house screaming to get away from their mentorship. And when Jaguar was exposing Will Smith for hosting parties with young men, she also dropped the bomb on Dwayne Wade for also being a part of this club. Jaguar said that she spoke to a number of artists that got invited to a party at Dwayne Wade's house, and she said that they told her everything was cool up front, but when they went to the back, there was a bunch of old dudes taking advantage of younger guys at the party. And it was all being taped.
Meek Mills, Bryshere Gray, left that house screaming. August the only one that stayed, and I guess he was really sick. He needed a dog.
Hey, man.
And that was they kid's friend.
Ideally, the assumption is that the tapes that are taken at such parties are used as insurance to ensure that as these young stars grow into powerful men, they can never turn against the handlers who control the industry, and sadly, even the offsprings of Hollywood royalty like Jaden aren't exempt from the industry's dark rituals. And now, people are saying that it all makes sense. I mean, think about the timeline. Jaden was out here at 14 and 15 years old, looking physically drained, talking in riddles on Twitter, and trying to legally emancipate himself from Will and Jada. At the time, the internet just clowned him, calling him a nepo baby having a crisis. But if you factor in these allegations about freak-offs and him being compromised alongside people like Bryshere Gray and Justin Bieber, those cries for help now look totally different. It starts to look like somebody who was desperately trying to claw his way out of a house that was doubling as a showroom for the industry elite. Now, a lot of people believe that was what probably triggered Jaden's weird behaviors growing up, and it was so bad that in 2013, Jaden decided that he had had enough of his parents and asked for emancipation for his 15th birthday. And things just continued to go downhill from there, and he just got weirder and weirder. Like there was a time at the 2018 premiere of Skate Kitchen where Jaden was photographed with an iguana on his shoulder as part of his accessory. Other than that, he's done other weird things like mismatching his shoes. And let's also not forget how his hair literally worked overtime throughout his life. From friendly locks, afros, and cornrows to crazy styles like blonde dye, burgundy dye, green dye, and at some point, Jaden surprised his fans with pink hair. In 2019, he also rocked a half-shaved head and bleached his eyebrows. Actually, by the time Jaden took the stage at Coachella 2019 with his pink hair, bleached eyebrows, and gold-plated teeth, fans just said that he looked like a 60-year-old high on something nasty. There was also a video that made rounds where Jaden literally recorded himself crying. Well, people have also said that something else that probably messed up Jaden is how his parents pretended to be a happy couple in public, but privately, they had been separated for years. We already suspected that the marriage was a sham, but Jada herself confirmed it when she did that interview not so long ago, saying she and Will had been separated since 2016. As a matter of fact, sources told the Daily Mail that Will and Jada put Jaden in a very strange and uncomfortable situation that deeply affected their mental health, saying they were constantly asked about their parents, and for 7 years, they had to basically lie to everyone and pretend that everything was perfectly fine when they knew it was not. This made them extremely agitated at times, and they would constantly get in fights with each other and with them. According to the source, Jaden Smith in particular found it hard to cope with the issues surrounding his parents' marriage, and they said, Jaden has had so many issues with them, and this has always really been hard for him to deal with. Then, to make matters worse, while Will and Jada were separated, Jada was very busy getting down with Jaden's close friend, August Alsina. See, back in 2020, August claimed that he and Jada had an affair in 2016, saying that it was with Will's full knowledge and permission, and Jaden possibly knew that his dad had given his mom permission to hook up with his friend in their home.
He gave me his blessing, and I totally gave myself to that relationship for years of my life, you know, and I truly and really, really deeply loved and have a ton of love for her.
Basically, people have been saying that all these things that Jaden has been through totally messed up with his brain. And now we are talking about the possibility of tapes being used as blackmail against him from freak-offs, orchestrated by his own father. I mean, that's totally messed up. Of course, it also doesn't help that Will Smith has faced multiple allegations of hooking up with younger men before, and he is even currently facing a lawsuit by Brian King Joseph, who is alleging that Will Smith has been priming him for months. He is suing for retaliation, wrongful termination, intimidation, and SA, and is seeking compensation for personal and financial damages. His lawsuit actually claims that he made significant financial investments in preparation for Will's tour, which ran from July to early September, and as a result of multiple incidents and firing, he now suffers from major physiological damage and PTSD. Now, according to the allegations, the process started back in late 2024, with things getting progressively weirder as they spent more and more private time together leading up to the tour. Joseph pointed out that Will Smith supposedly hit him with lines like, "You and I have a special connection I don't have with anyone else," claiming this wasn't just a one-off comment, but part of a persistent pattern of behavior. The situation allegedly peaked during a disturbing hotel incident, where Joseph claims his bag, which held his room key, was lost under very suspicious circumstances by tour management, and he believes this was a setup, not an accident. When he finally got back to his room, he says he found a scene straight out of a nightmare. Someone had broken in and left behind intimate supplies, wipes, an open beer, and even someone else's HIV medication and hospital discharge papers. The most chilling part was a note left for him that said, "Brian, I'll be back no later than 5:30. Just us, Stone F." Apparently, he took this as insinuation that the person would be back to forcefully sleep with him. Allegedly, when he tried to sound the alarm to security and tour management, Brian says they completely flipped the script on him. Instead of helping, they allegedly gaslit him, called him a liar, and blamed him for the whole mess. He was also fired just a few days later under the classic moving in a different direction excuse. But Joseph says the fact that they replaced him with another violinist immediately proves that his firing was a cover-up for what really happened in that hotel room. Well, what people are saying now is that if the lawsuit is true, then this only proves what has been said about Will Smith for years. And it's even sadder if Jaden had to go through all that mess as well. Plus, when you hear about professional musicians claiming they were primed and blackmailed as recently as 2024 and 2025, it makes Jaguar's claims about what happened to Jaden years ago feel less like a conspiracy and more like a pattern. If you ask a lot of people, they will tell you that it explains why Jaden has spent his adult life trying to be as weird as possible, and he's constantly saying he doesn't fit in and that he's trying to be normal but fails. When you see him now, he honestly looks like someone who has seen way too much too soon. And if these tapes Jaguar talks about actually exist, it means Jaden is living in fear that the tape might actually leak one day. Baby, it's really beginning to look like the industry doesn't just exploit outsiders. It eats its own to keep the show running, and that's a cold, calculated, disgusting game. I haven't seen the tape myself, but I'd love to know what you think of the allegation of its existence, so let me know in the comments section below.